All right, here we go. This is chapter 11. 11, 11, 11. I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can. However, it's a pretty long segment, and I'm out here at my daughter's swim practice. Here we go. Swimming. So, got to get this done. Okay, so we're going to talk about the history of the jail and prisons here, and we're going to go into how the prisons were designed and the punishment for breaking the law. This is after you have been found guilty, not you, just in general. Because again, I had a student like, "Oh, not me." She was saying that I was a bad guy and stuff, but that's not the truth. Okay. So it's just a punishment for breaking the law. And basically, the bottom line is punishment is there to try to get people not to do anything anymore. Now, my own brother was incarcerated for DUI. And you think he would learn his lesson after being incarcerated several times. And even one time, his own best friend was killed in his car in a drunk driving accident. His friend asked if he could take his car home, and my brother said, "Sure, go ahead," gave him the keys, and his friend was drunk and had killed him. But it took until the fact that my brother was actually incarcerated for a crime that he finally learned his lesson. So something must have happened that's like, I'm not going to go back. And that's when they had the 3-strike laws that was going on. And then that's when he ended up learning his lesson. So keeping in mind that we're going to talk about punishment, and in the last segment talked about sentencing, and I said that I didn't care at some point that some of these people get what they deserve, and oh, woe's me, and oh, let's feel sorry for Johnny in the jail because his little bologna sandwich wasn't warmed up, and woe's me, he shouldn't be there in the first place. However, when we're going through this, I want you guys to take note on some of the punishment of who it's made for, and what really, when these crimes happen, really what exactly that we're looking at as far as punishment. So when we're thinking of all the different types of incarceration, this is the Yahoo I want to take a look at here. And I can't use the terms that I feel like using when describing this kind of person. But here's this guy, his own baby, right? Feel free to look further into it to find out what's going on, right? This is what he did to his own baby and killed her for his own sexual gratification. And that's just a monster. Because, again, don't know how you get there, right? I have a 16-year-old daughter here. Could never imagine any male in her life that would take it to this point of, oh, let's see, I need sexual gratification. Oh, there's a baby. I can use a baby, right? So anyway, I want you to think about this, because this should make you sick to your stomach when you're dealing with people like this. And when you meet somebody like this in person, it's going to take every ounce of your being not to take matters into your own hands, because now you become judge, jury, and executioner. You can't do that, right? You cannot do that, because you'll piss away your career for some dirtbag like this, okay? So keep this in mind, like I said, of what he did. And his wife was at work, right? His wife was at work and was really sad. It's like when they found this poor little girl, she had her diaper saturated with blood. So that's pretty sad. Okay, so punishment's been going on for a long time, right? Crime, again, I think I asked you in the last module, when has crime started? When was the first part of crime, right? And then we still have crime today, right? Nobody woke up this morning like, oh, good, there's no crime going on anymore, right? Crime's still taking place. And so here's some punishment. I want you to tell me 3 things you learned from watching this video as far as the type of punishment that started in a period of time. Now, remember, this is going back hundreds and hundreds of years when they started this type of punishment. And has it stopped crime? No. So it's like, how do we stop crime? And I asked you in your last module as part of assignment, what's deterring you right now from not going out and committing crime, right? What's stopping anybody when you see a parked car, running up to the parked car, breaking out the windows, taking on the property? What's stopping you from kicking in the door to somebody's house and stealing all their stuff, right? And why? And how do you get there? And a lot of people, no matter what, they talk about, I've talked to so many people over the years, about drugs, and they say they will do anything to get their hands on drugs at any cost to anybody, and they don't care. So they go through and take whatever they need. Okay, so here is a nice little jailhouse cell here, that everything is stainless steel, right? So you don't try to get any objects or to make them into weapons or anything like that. They're small, overcrowding, right? This jail cell usually only has one person. The majority of them will have a bunk bed up here and a bunk bed down here. And it's too bad, so sad, it's overcrowded, and sometimes they have to pay their own way for the incarceration. Excuse me. Okay, so here also, crime and consequences. Excuse me. To take a look at this video here, 3 things you learn from this crime and consequence video. It's a pretty good video about punishment and crime. Some of the jail conditionings, it says used to, not now anymore, because everybody sues for every little thing, right? Lack basic necessities such as heating, water, and plumbing. Oh, that's too bad to hear. Let me feel sorry for you. Especially when, you know, we go to this case here. Oh, what? That's too bad you don't have any heating, plumbing. Let me just shed a tear, right? No segregation. Hello, everybody fights against segregation, right? And now everybody wants segregation when they want it, but no, I don't want segregation, right? So you talk about that. High levels of death and disease. Okay, well, let's see, there's all this stuff that's going on in the prison system. Why don't you do something that not to get you to go to prison? Wow, there's a new concept, and you don't have to face any of these issues, right? All right. Pennsylvania system, this is a system, they talk about larger cells, and it's separate, and it's silent system, so nobody talks to each other. Hard work and religious transformation. In your book too, there's also a picture there. I want you to tell me what your thoughts are regarding this picture here, and also the book that's represented, the photograph represented in the book, and tell me if you believe that's a good system to work with. The history of jails in the prison, the New York system. This is also similar to the Pennsylvania system. They use these guys as chain gangs back in the day, right? Have them, I think Arizona still subscribes to this type of punishment where they're out and about doing hard labor on the side of the roads and stuff, and you can't talk to each other. Silence, right? The vow of silence. And the Auburn prison has a smaller cells than what we have here. And again, try to induce some type of punishment that could stop these people from committing crimes. All right, so they talk about the history of the New York system. They talk about opening in 1831. 1831. What year are we? 2020, right? We're in a pandemic, and these open up in 1831. So since they're opening up in 1831, right? And we still have all this stuff going on. It's like, what can we do to deter people, right? But we're human beings, right? We fall short. The path is narrow. And they try very hard to deter people, but you even see little kids. And I was told when I started law enforcement, you will start seeing kids in kindergarten not following the rules, not doing anything, lashing out. You start seeing it early, and he says you can almost follow them to see what happens to them. Okay, the New York system was made the most famous because they had the electric chair, and there was 614 executions between 1891 and 1963. Again, all this stuff went on. Is there a crime today? Yep. So what do we do to get it to stop? If anybody has any wonderful suggestions, put them out there. Maybe it'll make their $1 billion, right? Okay. So what leads to crime, right? What they look at all the inmates that come in, and maybe when they look at all the inmates that come inside, it's like, okay, what got you here? Like, what decisions did you make through your life that got you to this point? Let's look at your background. Because sometimes they almost look for an excuse to give to criminals, so the criminals like won't feel so bad about themselves. It wasn't my fault because I grew up in poverty. I grew up in poverty. I didn't know I was poor growing growing up. I had no idea. Born and raised in a gang territory, had presents brought to us every single year by these great people. Well, I thought every kid was like that people brought him presents. People brought a turkey for Thanksgiving, right? I didn't know we were poor. I just thought everybody lived that way, okay? I didn't turn out to be a criminal, right? Upbringing. Sometimes don't get to pick your parents, right? Some of your parents are gang parents. You can't help it. So they're gang parents. You don't know that's a bad thing. You think it's a good thing. You have no idea because you come with a blank slate, and that's what just happens, okay? Sometimes mental illness. All the functions up here in the brain are not connected. They're not going the right way. So this one's not doing this way. It might be, doing something. Schizophrenic, mental illness, a lot of stuff. Drug addiction, huge drug addiction. Causes a lot of stuff. Okay, let me finish here. I'm going to upload this one and we'll continue on.